Alright, I want to talk about crushers. First things first, a lot of people don't know this. If you have gold toughness and you block, their overhead won't kill you. See? That's a gigantic, massive fucking tip, by the way. Like, seriously, if you're playing a shout vet and you can constantly spam your ult, you just hit this once. Like, I might make that an individual PSA on its own, because holy shit, I'm sick of people fighting crushers like pussies when they have gold toughness. Okay, anyway, crushers are the least threatening enemy at any given time. All of their little attacks that are actually fast and can actually hit you just tend to not hit you. But what makes them scary is when there's 4 of them stacked up and there's other enemies around. However, the other enemies, as long as you're targeting them over these guys, as you can see, you don't need to worry about getting one shot. The biggest block with these guys is psychological. So the way that you need to understand the fundamentals of this enemy type is never let it out of your field of view. If you know there's crushers around, you have to respect the fact that they can just flat out one-shot you. And you can never, ever, 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 ever let them leave your field of view. It doesn't matter. I don't care if there's disablers. I don't care if there's a flamer. If there's crushers right here and there's a flamer over here, trust me. If you go to look over here with your gun out and you're doing this, you will get overheaded. This is how you die to them. So, the biggest takeaway that you should have from this is never let them out of your FOV and don't be afraid of them. Go into the Psychanium, practice fighting against 4 of them at once, and you'll get into this nice rhythm where you're completely not worried about it. Also, another huge thing to understand, Carapace armor isn't that threatening unless your weapon is completely incapable of dealing with it. Now, let me pull out the old shovel real quick, the garbage one. So this is an example of a weapon that's completely incapable of dealing with this. You need at least one weapon that can deal with Carapace armor. Because, I mean, look, this is not valid for killing these guys. Yeah, if there's 4 of these guys and you're stuck doing this, yeah, it's gonna suck real fucking bad. Also, Rending Strikes is literally terrible and does nothing here. So, this is Onslaught. Just take a look at what Onslaught does to these guys. So, Onslaught does that. Now, let's take Onslaught away and let's look at Rending Strikes. Seriously, if you are taking Rending Strikes on its own, you're just throwing it on, so you have better crusher damage, you're basically wasting skill points. I mean, look at this fucking difference. This is such a massive difference that if you want to make fast attacking weapons good at dealing with crushers, instead of grabbing this toughness and this rending, you might as well just fucking grab Onslaught. Because another fun thing, dots are extremely solid for dealing with these guys. Only if you use rending, though. So, hold on, let me just turn invisibility back on. So, this is what one dot grenade does against them. 18 damage per second. God damn. Look at the prick's face when you saw the gap. But now let's brittle this guy up. And now look at how much damage this does. 66. Not a massive improvement, but if there's 4 of them, or if you're combining it with more bleeds from, say, something like this, you know, you're combining it like this, you start getting bleed dots into the 100. So say you're in a situation like this. This is where you can turn bleed grenades, or the Psyker's Purge Staff, into an actually really good source of damage against these guys. So you just get a little bit of brittleness on them, and before you go into the reload, throw the grenade, that'll stun them, you come back from the reload, go back to brittling them up, and it's like you just threw out, effectively, like 700-800 free damage on top of a stun. I think that covers just about everything. Oh yeah, wait, there's one other thing, the stat breakdown of crushers, because there's one important thing in here. So they take normal damage from ranged and melee, which is why ranged is a really good way of dealing with them. However, their run speed is almost twice as fast as trash mobs, but their walk speed is slightly slower. So let me show you this real quick. So crushers, when you have invisibility off, Crushers, that run speed is what allows them to close the gap. So you really want to be at this range against them, because look at how slow they are. Look at how completely non-threatening this guy is. As long as you're this far, so if I go back 5 meters, he starts sprinting. If I just maintain a 4-meter distance, he won't start sprinting, and he just does a really easy to dodge attack pattern, or he just slow walks towards me like a Dark Souls enemy. But the moment I go far back, he immediately closes the gap. He runs so much faster than Poxwalkers, you want to not be just constantly backwalking. So you want to run up to them to fight for space. A Crusher is actually not threatening at all this distance. But a Crusher, this distance is actually pretty threatening, because he'll just fucking sprint up and try to overhead you. And when 4 of them are all doing that at once, it's kind of a problem.